At the end of our live big interview with Alex McLeish, the former Scotland manager was good enough to stay around and answer questions from the audience. So we bring you that Q&A here on the big interview as a special bonus feature, 'cause you're worth it. Alex tells the story of Alex Ferguson's attempt to orchestrate a move to bring the defender from Aberdeen to Old Trafford, and how the Manchester United manager had a hand in discouraging bids from other English clubs. Ferguson was also aware of the importance of fitness right from the start, and Alex McLeish explains how that manifested itself during his time at Aberdeen, as well as giving his own views on the importance of recruiting experts to help ensure players stay at their physical peak. Plus, he talks about his decision to step down as the Scotland manager, what lies ahead in his career, while also telling one of the greatest anecdotes you're ever likely to hear, when Socrates showed Gordon Strachan how a Brazilian takes a drugs test.
I've got more questions, but we did promise you that you'd have the opportunity. So if there are a couple of questions before we close, now's the time to put your hand up and take a microphone. Oh my God, there is, right? So our kind colleagues there have got microphones. You can just pick who you fancy. What about that gentleman there? And then the next one will come over there. You're up.
Okay, hi Alex. During your club career at Aberdeen, I'm sure you'd have had lots of good offers to move overseas and to other clubs in the UK. So what I want to ask is, can you tell us what clubs came in for you and were you ever tempted by a move?
I've been offered a couple of jobs in England that I feel are too low for me at the moment. I did take the plunge and went abroad for a couple of years. I did a stint in Belgium, and I really enjoyed that. It was quite a difficult season for the club. They were going through a transitional period where they had to sell players before. It's the story of my life. Sell players before we could buy, and but it was reasonably successful from the point of view. When I went in there, they were 13th and we finished 7th, and that was a fantastic, because the Belgians, you know, as we've seen and as we've seen and witnessed the amount of Belgians who are playing in top level football in Europe, they're still coming off the production line. You know, there's a lot of tremendous talent out there. I had the good skills coaches, and you're watching them training a big guy to do step overs. You know, that famous Ronaldo step over in training, and he assured me that he wouldn't tell him to do that in the penalty box. It was only really in training to get him familiar with the ball. And I took a friend came over from UK to see the kids playing against Anderlecht. So the whole shooting match plays against Anderlecht, whole shooting match from 9s right through to the under 20s. And I said, what do you think of these under 9s? What do you think of the under 11s? And we're going from pitch to pitch. And I said, how does it compare to the Premier League? And he said, night and day. He says, this is unbelievable. The standard here is higher than the Premier League. So I guess we've still got work to do in getting the best out of the academy kids.
In terms of offers that you asked about, though, not coaching, but you very nearly ended up at Old Trafford as well, as a footballer.
Yeah. Alex Ferguson had a deal with Aberdeen that he wouldn't come back for me and Willie Miller when he left to go to Man United. And I thought, how no? Yeah, you know. I says, I'm not happy with that deal. So he kind of stuck to his word a wee bit, and he was allowed to get Jim Leighton, but he also had an agreement with Aberdeen that, you remember with Joe Miller that went to Celtic. Joe was a kid and he always liked Joe, and he said, look, if anything happens with Joe, let me know. Or any clubs come in for him, let me know as well. But Aberdeen sold him to Celtic, never consulted with Sir Alex, and he says, right, that's it, all bets are off, I'm coming for you. And so in those days, no agents and stuff, you know, and it was difficult to kick managers' doors down the way that players do it these days with their agents, and it's pretty easy to get out on social media and get the word passed around that you want to leave. And I says, well, how am I going to do this to the boss, you know? And he said, right, well, what I'll do is I'll put a story in the papers on Sunday that Spurs want you. He says, and then you go on Chappie's door on Monday and say, all this speculation about Spurs has kind of, you know, unsettled me.
Who knew, Sir Alex? Who knew?
So, you know, and a little aside from that, a wee aside that I can tell you about as well. When I went to dinners in England, I met, you know, a few managers. Terry Neal, the ex-Arsenal manager, and I said, Terry, Alex McLeish, nice to meet you. I know who you are. I tried to buy you. He says, but I phoned this guy. I think you know who. And he put the fucking phone down. Excuse my French, sorry, what he said was, no, actually, that was wrong. What he said was, he told me to fuck off. and I've met about 4 or 5 managers, and I've said, how did we not know about these things? But anyway, the Man United thing, he said, he said, look, I'm going to get in the act as well. Since Spurs are in for you, you know, I'm putting a bid into Aberdeen. And that he thought legitimately that was the, you know, the bet that he had, the agreement that he had with Aberdeen was nullified. So he tried a few offers, and I think he got up as high as 900 grand or something, and they said they wanted 1.4 million, which was a lot of money in those days, nothing now. And he says, Alex, listen, there's no budging. He said, I just can't go any further. And a couple of weeks later, he bought Gary Pallister for £2 million. And but to be fair, Pallister was about 8 years younger than me, so...
Covering over Sir Alex's embarrassment, thank heaven for John Mark Bosman. Thank heaven you stayed for the 1989 League Cup final and the 1990 Scottish Cup final. There's a microphone somewhere over here. Hello.
Got one here.
Fire away.
Alec. Here, Alec. Here.
Where?
Straight here.
There we are.
Yes, here.
All right, right.
Right, I'll stand up.
Right. That's better, right.
How important do you think fitness is to players and to teams? And how important did Fergie find it? I can call him that because I went to school with him.
All right, well, brilliant.
Going high.
Were you the janitor? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, fitness was massive for Fergie, and you know, it is very, very important, especially in the modern day where the pitches are so fast and so demanding on players, and you know, picking up injuries is groin strains with the hard pitches. But I think the speed of the game is increased no end, and fitness has become the god of a lot of clubs. Actually, there's a lot of managers I hear about. You know, they say 100 minutes in the red zone. As soon as they get to that 100 minutes, the whistle goes and everybody walks. So the guy could be through on the goals and with a second to go, and the manager blows the whistle and everybody goes in. So that's a bit extreme, but the fitness levels are pretty incredible, and the sports scientists take care of it. The fitness coaches. Call them what you like, you know. Some people call them methodologists, you know, but it's
right.
In my thing, it's a fitness coach, you know, and they're the guys who are entrusted with that. These boys are all, you know, university degrees up to the hilt, and they have become very important. And when you're building an infrastructure or you try to get a team round about you, then it's great that you can have people of that expertise. You know, it's like when Jill asks me to paint the kitchen, I'll say, well, I can't, but I know a guy who can. and that's the art of getting the right people around about you. But fitness is massive. And Fergie, you know, in the days of Fergie and Archie Knox, we would be running to the ground in the morning, and we're thinking, right, afternoon session, that must be the last runs. And you can see the two of them scheming over in the corner, saying, right, okay, what will we give them now, you know? And then all of a sudden you've got 500-800 metres to do before you go back to Pittodrie. And in those days, they were just doing it off their experience. And, you know, in those days, Jock Steen as well, Roy Aitken told me that when they went back to Celtic Park for training, they used to run around the track, and he said it was a blistering hot day, and the sprinklers are on the ground. And to show you how far we've gone with you know, the food and the hydration, the Celtic players were running around, and one of them ran onto the pitch to guzzle a bit of water. And Big Jock says, "Hey, get away from that water!" You know? and you know how important water is now. The players drinking it every 5 seconds. So that's a lot of the big changes.
It's a great question. Fitness in the kitchen, 100 minutes in the red and white zone with the paint. Who's got the microphone? Who's got the mic? Just say yes.
Do you regret leaving Scotland when you did for Birmingham?
Did I what?
Regret leaving Scotland when you did to go to Birmingham?
I didn't regret that, because I felt that it was an ambition to coach in the Premier League and in England. And also I was really gutted, you know, that we didn't quite get over that final hurdle in the Italian game. You know, that won each the chance for James McFadden when the ball went across the face of the box. You know, my life went before me, but for that, I would have been still in charge of the national team for that foreseeable future. But there was niggling at me that I wasn't going to be in any real action except for a friendly or two between then, when Italy knocked us out, and the start of the new season. So I felt I wanted to get back into day-to-day football as soon as possible. And I think in the end it was a good decision. But of course, leaving your national team is always a real biggie. You know, it takes a lot of thinking about it to actually do it, because it's one of the greatest accolades of my life, getting asked to manage Scotland.
Alec, I'm a Celtic fan, but I admire your achievements in the game, and I was just wondering, if you could sign one player from any era, who would it be and why?
Any era?
Yeah.
For me, it would be Messi. You know, and I'm talking about the current era. You know, I can go back to my childhood days and the Brazil team of '70. You know, Pelé was just an absolute god, and then to see this wee genius, you know, what he's done. Maradona as well. There would probably be an argument there between those two, but I think I've got to say that Messi has just mesmerised everybody for the last, how many years, Graham, now? Messi been gone 10,
He makes
12.
his debut in about 2004.
Yeah.
And he turns 30 in June. So potentially, what
13
Alex
years.
talking about, there might be 3-4 more years.
Genius, you know, absolute genius. But there's been so many brilliant players I've seen throughout my career that I really loved. Platini, Cruyff, and you know, these guys that I spoke about. But I'd have to plump for Messi.
That's a good answer. Hands are up everywhere. Who has the microphone? Because if you've got the microphone, you're in charge. Straight ahead, Alec.
Alex, who was the best player you played against in your
Still not.
long... Sorry.
Oh,
Alex, who was the best player you played against in your long career?
God, I played against some really top strikers, you know, in the World Cups and things like that. But you know, we had a lot of rivalry with Celtic, and it's hard to say one particular guy. But I tended to get annoyed more with the ones that bash your face with their elbows and stuff. You know, the Roddy Hutchisons and the David Dodds and of this world. And Coisty was never a problem, always in the pocket. Charlie Knight, you know, some great players there. But there was a big giant Swede. You know, we played. Remember that game? Yeah.
Johnny Ekstrom.
You'd hear the Dons fan here. So, yeah, big. It wasn't John Ekstrom, that was somebody before him. Torbjorn Nielsen.
Blooming heck.
Yeah, that's a good one, eh? Google it.
I wish I could have Googled him.
We played at Pittodrie. Sven Goran Eriksson was in charge of them. It was at Gothenburg. Bloody Gothenburg, you know, of all teams. And we 2-2 at Pittodrie. And this guy was 6'5" and good in the air, no, I'm strong, and he was holding me off, and it was really, really difficult game. It was probably one of the most difficult games in my career. I'm sorry it's no a big name, but I had, played against Romario in my pocket.
Can I throw one at you then?
Careca in my pocket. Yeah, but Careca and Maradona made a great partnership at Napoli, and Careca was making through runs, in that game. We played them in, what was it,
1990, was it?
1990, yeah, in Italy. And he's making through runs, and he stopped, and he says, "Why you no play football?" I says, "Because you're too fucking fast for me, honest." Yeah. I have to use tactics,
So how can you, if Tor, whatever his name is not a big enough name, how can you not be throwing back the answer Socrates?
Socrates,
a big rival on and off the pitch.
Well, Socrates was unbelievable. Just a giant, Adonis of a guy, the 6'4" or something, but a majestic footballer. Even the way he walked down the street was brilliant. And and after we played them, and we got a doing in Seville, the 4-1 game, Davy Neri goal, and after the game, Gordon Strachan and John Robertson were in the drugs testing. And I don't know what it is about Scots, but we can't seem to do a piss after a game, and it takes about 40 gallons of water. And the bus has to go, and you have to go in a car and catch up with them. I remember we left Hampden a few times, and when we won the cup up to Gleneagles, we would have to leave the other players behind because they were taking so long to do a piss. So Gordon and John Robertson are there, and he says, we can't do a piss, so we're ages in there, we're drinking water, and we're trying to discuss why the Brazilians are better than us, Gordon says, I'm sitting there with my wee white skin, and I'm hiding my nipples and stuff, and Rob was saying, well, maybe it's because we like a bevy, and and I like a smoke now and again, and Gordon says, aye, but it's just the way these guys are made, their bodies, their rhythm. He says, it's that. He says, but I guess you're right, Robbo, there is a bit of that as well. And just like that, Socrates walks in. God, am I losing this here? Can you hear me all right? Socrates walks in with his wee Speedos on, big long legs, beautiful athlete, the curly hair, and he had a fag in his horn. He had a fag in his horn and 2 bottles of beer in 2 fingers. He gives it that. Guzzles of beer. Finished, no problem. Gordon and Rob were like that. Fucking hell. And Socrates says to the two of them, you play a good game, goodbye. Unbelievable.
We've been privileged tonight. It's been everything I expected. I think we've been chased out because there's Socrates is queuing outside. We've maybe got, if the microphone's in somebody's hand, which it is, I think this is the last shot of the night.
Hi, Alex. My question was going to be about Sir Alex, but there's been a few of them, so if this is the last one, I would just ask what's next for you?
Again, I feel as if I've still got success in me, in this body here. Hopefully I'll be able to do a Ranieri of what he done last year, but not this year. And just trying to wait an opportunity, but you never really get a fantastic opportunity, do you? You're normally always going to go in and do maybe some kind of firefighting job of sorts. But the great jobs are few and far between. I did speak to Rangers last week. It was only a chat and about the lay of the land. It seems as if they're going to go for the Portuguese guy. I would have been speaking to them again anyway if they'd say, look, Alec, we really want you. I would have wanted some other reassurances. So I guess there was a wee bit to go as far as that was concerned. But I declared my interest and that I could help. I don't know where I'm going to go. I've spoken to people abroad again. There's a suggestion of maybe going to another national team. I had a chance to go to, well, no Ghana, but one of the African countries. Aubameyang is the lead striker there. But I looked at the squad and he's the only player I've got, you know. So I thought, well, I don't want to be getting into too many firefighting situations again. But something. Barcelona maybe, because Luis Enrique's leaving at the end of the season. Yeah.
From Govan to Gabon, never mind
Gabon.
Never mind Luis and Enrique leaving, you'd still got a game alongside Gerard Piqué. Not a hint of a lie, I believe that we've been speaking this evening to one of the great Scottish footballers, one of the great Scottish personalities. I think his personality has shone out tonight, and he used the phrase, I've still got success in me. It's really clear that that's true, not just from football knowledge, ability to be creative, take risks, go abroad, but to win trophies too. All I'd like you to do, please, is to show your appreciation of the fantastic man that is Alex McLeish.
The Big Interview is produced by Backpage and me, Graham Hunter. The music you always hear, the music that you love, is Beer Jacket. You can keep up with everything that we do, within reason. You can enter exclusive competitions and put your questions to our future Big Interview guests by getting on the mailing list at grahamhunter.tv. How many times do I have to tell you? Yes, several thousand of you have done it, but come on, slackers at the back, sign up. That grahamhunter.tv site is also where you can buy the new updated version of my book, Barca, the Making of the Greatest Team in the World. It's my account of the Guardiola era at the Camp Nou, from 2008 until 2012, plus Tito, Tata, and Adios Johan Cruyff. It is in all good bookshops now, but it does also make a big difference to all of us who've worked on the project if you choose to buy direct at grahamhunter.tv/books. You'll be sure to get the new edition, and you will be helping us to continue producing independent content. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being there. Without you, this would be fun, but a lot less fun. See you soon.